ayan, no, watching from SDO Antipolo, Batasan, diba? We also have teachers live from Cebu. Hello, good morning po sa inyong lahat, diba? From Indang, Cavite. Magandang umaga din po sa inyo, diba? Ready na po ba kayo for today's learning series, no? Ang last update natin, meron tayong over 77,000 teachers and pre-service teachers learning with us today. Yan, hindi po namin kayo bibiguin sa ating learning series at alam kong busog na busog tayo matatapos dito. Now we have Miss Liza to give us the opening remarks.
Good morning, mga kakolab. I'm Liza Gokongwei Cheng, General Manager of the Gokongwei Brothers Foundation, and I'm thrilled to welcome you to this learning series on reading remediation. We all know how important this work is. According to the 2024 PSA statistics, only 64% of Filipino students aged 10 to 14 are functionally literate. That means nearly 4 out of 10 students struggle to write, read, and comprehend at an age-appropriate level. These are the learners who need our help the most. That's why GBF STEM Collab created this series for you, our dedicated teachers. We hope this session gives you practical, effective strategies for reading remediation, and more importantly, the confidence to carry them out. We know the work can feel overwhelming, but you're not alone. Today, you're learning alongside at least 80,000 teachers. That's the power of community. Let's also take a moment to celebrate another milestone. Our GBF STEM Collab Facebook community is now 170,000 strong and counting. And to think we only started the year with only 80,000 members, the growth has been amazing. We appreciate you inviting your co-teachers to the community. Your support has been incredible. Thank you for showing up for your students and for yourselves. We're also very grateful to DepEd NAIAP for their support in making this remediation series Cpd accredited, and to Microsoft for enabling a platform that helps us reach so many educators across the country. To all our teachers, we're with you every step of the way. We're listening, we're learning, and we're committed to supporting you. The Gokongwei Brothers Foundation would like to thank you for joining this Aral series, Masterclass on Reading Remediation Strategies, para maging posible ang pangarap natin ang bawat batang Pilipino ay makabasa at makaunawa. Salamat po.
Maraming salamat po, Miss Liza. Dagdag pa natin sa ating excitement ngayon, ang Cpd Units ng ating webinar. Panoorin natin itong quick explainer video para malaman kung paano ninyo makukuha ang inyong Cpd Units.
Good day! Welcome to our webinar. Are you ready to get your Cpd Units after this learning series? Before that, here's a simple guide on how to obtain them. If you attend the first day sessions and submit all valid outputs, you will gain 4 Cpd Units. If you attend the second day sessions and submit all valid outputs, you will gain 4 Cpd Units. If you attend the third day sessions and submit all valid outputs, you will gain 4 Cpd Units. So if you attend all the sessions and submit all valid outputs, you will gain 12 Cpd Units. To earn the 12 Cpd Units, you must complete both the registration and the free test through the link displayed on your screen. You also need to attend all the sessions real time. And finally, submit the evaluation form on time and pass the post-test. Just a quick reminder, only the first 30,000 LPTs who registered, attended, and submitted complete valid outputs will qualify for Cpd Units. So make sure to complete the whole process as soon as you can. That's it. tap the heart reaction if you're excited to get all 12 CPD units.
Welcome to the GBF STEM Collab webinar. Here's a quick step-by-step guide on how to obtain your certificates. Step 1. Fill out the registration form and complete the pre-test on the link that you can see on your screen. This will be your official entry for the learning series. Step 2. Attend the sessions live on MS Teams. CPD units and certificates are only granted to those who attend real time, so make sure you're here and tuned in. Step 3. Answer the evaluation form. Make sure to sign in with the same email address you used for registration to avoid any issues. Step 4. Pass the post-test. Here are the passing scores for each post-test to qualify for a certificate. You can retake the test as many times as needed. The full instructions will be included in the form itself. Finally, wait for your certificate. Certificates will be sent out in batches to the email address you used during registration by the date that you can see on your screen. Please know that this schedule may change depending on the volume of submissions. So we would appreciate your patience during this time. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the session.
What to do? Register. Second, pass the post-test. And third, submit valid outputs on time to qualify for your certificates and CPD units. Ayan. Submission links will be shared during the live and will also be available in the GBF STEM Collab community. Kaya kung hindi pa po kayo part ng ating Facebook community, join now. Only the first 30,000 valid submissions will receive CPD units. Uulitin ko po, only the first 30,000 valid submissions will receive CPD units. Final eligibility for CPD units will be determined after the evaluation at post-test forms close. Your certificate will show you that you are qualified for CPD units. This is based on the compliance with all requirements.
Kaya basahin po nating mabuti ang requirements, ha? At heto na ang good news. Kahit hindi ka mapasama sa first 30,000 LPTs for CPD units, makakakuha ka pa rin ng NAEP and GBF STEM Collab Certificate na pwede mo pa rin i-apply
As self-directed learning.
basta nakapag-register ka, pumasa sa post-test, at nakapag-submit ng valid outputs on time. Grabe naman yun! Generous! But before we keep going, here's something important. Para ma-complete mo ang evaluation form at post-test later, kailangan mo tong secret code na to. Makikita nyo sa ating screen, at kung may notebook kayo, isulat nyo na. All caps to. L-C-O-N-I-N. E-L-K-O-N-I-N. Siguraduhin i-enter ang code in all caps. Saan to hahanapin? Dun sa form na isasubmit kung kailangan nyo na yung certificate. Itatanong ang code na ito sa form para masigurado nyo na only those na talagang nanood ng webinar ang makakapag-complete ng evaluation at post-test. Muli, i-screenshot nyo na ang ating secret code or isulat sa inyong notebook. Today, pag-uusapan natin ang foundation ng pagbasa, phonemic awareness, at decoding for beginning readers. Mamayang hapon, hands-on tayo with our structured learning tasks kasama sa post-test and evaluation form. So prepare your notes, snacks, kape, at energy kasi isang araw tayong mag-aaral today. Sa mga susunod na araw, i-cover natin ang vocabulary, fluency, questioning techniques, and from remediation to intervention. Exciting lineup, no? Grabe. Grabe na to, mga kakulab. So make sure to attend our August 19 and 23 sessions. Alright, mga kakulab, ready na ba kayo sa ating quick brain booster? This is our stimulator. This is a fun and meaningful challenge that puts us up into learning mode. So today, we will have a decoding challenge, Teacher's Edition. So paano ba ito mangyayari? I will say a set of sounds. Yes, sounds, hindi po letter names yung sasabihin ko. So makinig po tayong mabuti. You'll blend them silently in your head. Just like how our early readers do. Kunwari, paano ba ginagawa to ng mga students nyo sa classroom, di ba? Parang tayong nasa classroom ngayon, tapos ako yung special teacher nyo. Okay ba yun? Okay. You'll type your guessed words in the chat box. Pero here's the twist. After each item, may question tayo to connect it with real classroom challenges. O, di ba? Imagination, application, lahat na. Game na ba? Let's go! First challenge. Listen carefully. The sounds are S, A, K. Blend them in your mind, and what word do you get? S, A, K. Yan, meron tayong nakikita dito sa ating chat box. Isulat nyo na ang word dito. Game na! Ayan, di ba? May nakakuha na. Meron tayong talk, talk, cat. Ay, paano naman tayo nagka-cat doon, ma'am? Okay. Meron din tayong sack. Ang bilis talaga ng mga kakulab natin. Iba ang audience participation natin for today. Ang tamang sagot po natin ay tack. Tack. But what if a student spelled it as T-A-K or even T-A-C? Reflect po tayo dyan. Paano ba ganun? Yung word natin ay tack. T-A-C-K. Pero paano kung may students tayo na nag-spell ng T-A-K o kaya naman T-A-C? Yeah, diba? Nakuha siya nila, Ma'am Ana, Dumdum, hello, congratulations po. Nakuha niyo yung first challenge. Ay, pumasa naman yung aking pag-sound ng letters, diba? Okay ba tayo mga kakulab? Meron din talk, T-U-C-K. Ayan. Habang nire-reflect nyo yung second challenge, nakukuha natin how it goes. Let's go to the second challenge, mga kakulab. Here are the sounds. Sh, A, K, Sh, A, K. Go ahead, blend and decode. Ayan. Maraming mga kakulabs yung nakakakuha, di ba? Chop! That's it! Now, paano kung sa classroom nyo, sabi nung student, chop? Paano yun? Yan. Habang tinatype nyo at nagre-reflect kayo sa question na to, I'll give you our last challenge na yung mga questions later, babalikan yan ng ating expert for today. I-level up natin ang last challenge. Let's decode this. Sh, E, G. Sh, E, G. What's the word?
Ayan.
Nakakapag-type na po kayo ng mga answers nyo. Go ahead. Yes! Some of you said shag. Phonetically, that is correct. But it's not a real word naman. Others may also have heard shed or shag. Diba? So, babalikan natin yan isa-isa from challenge number 1 to challenge number 2 to challenge number 3. Great job, mga kakolab. Yung warm-up na yun, parang ako yung na-warm up for today, diba? It may have been simple at first, pero ngayon nakita natin, decoding is not about getting the right word. It's about navigating sound patterns, spelling variation, and even vocabulary limits, diba? Sometimes, yung mga bata, nakukuha nila yung sounds, pero mali yung word. Or, nade-decode nila ng tama, pero napapapunta sila sa word na hindi naman nag-e-exist or mga non-words. And that is okay. It is our job to guide them from sound to meaning, from guess to understanding. Diba? Meaningful! Stimulator pa lang yun, mga kakulab. Let's keep going. Ready na ba kayo to deep dive into phonemic awareness to support early readers? This is key in helping young learners unlock the word of reading or the world of reading. And we've got the perfect expert to guide us. Sabi nga ni ma'am, nag-bleed talaga siya ng reading and remediation. Grabe talaga. Today's resource person earned both her bachelor's and master's degree in reading from the University of the Philippines, Diliman. Her academic roots are solidly grounded in teaching reading. She began her career as Professor 3 at the UP Integrated School from 2001 to 2005 and later became a Center Director at Readability Literacy Improvement Center from 2005 to 2010 and Center Director of Read Plus from 2016 to 2021. Through these roles, she championed literacy and empowered both learners and fellow educators. Currently, Teacher Daisy wears so many hats. National Learning Remediation Program Consultants Head ng DepEd, Project Unique Reading Remediation Program Lead ng SDO Zambales. Meron po ba tayong from SDO Zambales? Social-Emotional Learning Consultant of Bureau of Learning Delivery, and Play-Based Learning Instruction Consultant for EDUCO. She also contributed to multiple leveling workshops from kinder to grade 3 supplementary learning materials in NCR and Davao, and was key trainer at the regional training of Teachers 1 in SDO Marikina. With her heart for education and deep expertise in reading instruction, Teacher Daisy continues to uplift learners and educators alike, one phoneme at a time. Mga kakolab, let's give a warm virtual round of applause to Teacher Daisy Jane C. Calyado.
Hi, thank you for that very warm introduction.
Teacher Daisy, ipapaready ko lang sa kanila yung mga notebooks nila. Kasi, build up kita, Teacher Daisy. Talagang iaangat kita for this morning sa mga matututunan nila at maia-apply agad nila in the classroom. So, di ko na patatagalan, Teacher Daisy. The floor is yours.
Thank you. So, it's nice to see a lot of familiar names here. Most of the teachers that are in the thread have been my participants before in the trainings that I have given. Thank you for coming. It's a Saturday, so it's comforting, and I'm honored that the teachers have decided to spend their Saturdays with us. For teachers, it's a time for their families and to do the chores. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that it's going to be worth your time, because we are trying our best to truly change the landscape of reading education, or how we teach children reading and to completely understand how else can we improve on what practices we are employing at the moment. So without further ado, this is phonemic awareness to support our young readers. So today we definitely aim to make all of you understand the phonemic awareness and what really happens in it, what are the important concepts that we should be dealing with it, and to connect it with reading achievement. So I think this is quite a small unit. If we're going to look at it into its position, say in Scarborough, but it really plays a big impact on how well the students will achieve in reading. We will also try to identify the current skill of the learners in performing specific phonemic awareness tasks. So you'll also be given strategies that are very practical and that you can easily apply on Monday when you already have your classes, right? So we will also try to answer the questions that you probably have in your mind about this topic. You might be doing this already, or you may be, of course, using some phonemic awareness activities already in your classes, but it's very crucial for us to align it with where it is placed into the reading development of a child. And definitely, hopefully, you would also be able to retell the sequence of tasks that are required in a phonemic awareness task. Okay. So please feel free to put in your questions, and as much as we can, we will try to accommodate all of them. Maybe not all of them live, but then since there's a community, we can address those questions in the community even after the talk has concluded. Alright, so huwag natin patagalin, no? Dapat mahalaga na ang bawat guro ay informed, because when your instruction is informed, you definitely can cater to the needs and the challenges of the learners. Gusto natin yung idea na yung mga teachers mismo ay talagang kaya nilang solusyonan yung mga nakikita nilang problema in the classroom. If there would be other problems that would require specialists to attend to these children, given naman po yun, no, meron talagang mga learning disabilities and conditions that would require an intervention specialist to address. But then, at our level, let us try our best to really have the solutions for us to teach better. Ayan. So itong continuum na to, itong levels na to, ng phonological awareness, definitely nakita ninyo ito, no? But it's very crucial for us to first start with yung pinaka-common confusion that happens with the terms. So, phonemic awareness is just right under phonological awareness. So the bigger umbrella is phonological awareness. And under it, you have all of these elements. Rhyming and alliteration, sentence segmentation, syllables, onset and rhymes, and definitely the star for today, phonemic awareness. Okay? Yung rhyming and alliteration, even before school, that can already happen when the parents or the caregivers of the learners would sing to the children common nursery rhymes that have repetitive words in them, and that's like a sound play for their ears, right? If they would be hearing words with similar endings or with a certain syllable count, then it would strengthen their ability to discriminate sounds. So learning happens even prior to schooling. So when we provide parent-teacher conferences with our parents, we have to tell them that especially for key stage 1, we have to tell them the big role that they play also in making sure that children are immersed into this culture or this habit of listening to rhymes. We have a lot in Filipino, we have a lot of Filipino songs and rhymes that we can use, no? That would develop that ease in identifying the sounds that they hear and grouping them, classifying them, locating where they are in words. Okay? I'm not going to the details of the other elements because, like what I said, we are highlighting on phonemic awareness. So we can see here that the elements are grouped from the less complex activities to more complex activities. That doesn't mean one has a heavier impact than the rest, but it means that in phonemic awareness there is really already a very intentional, and you are using this as a tool to allow the child to have self-help skills. So it's complex in that sense because if they would not be able to blend, segment, delete, and manipulate properly, that would have a serious implication on how they're going to learn how to decode. So it's crucial for teachers, number one. I'd like to pick up from this is not to confuse the terms. So phonological awareness is the bigger umbrella and phonemic awareness is under it. However, it is complex in the sense that it entails a lot of skills, blending, segmenting, deleting, and manipulating. So you would see these skills grow big as we go on into this training or in this sharing that we're doing. Yan. Okay, so zero in na tayo kay phonemic awareness. It's the ability to hear and manipulate letter sounds. So as we know in the English language, there are 44 phonemes. So once that the learners have a solid grasp of that, then we are good to go. We are assured that they would have an easier time using that skill to read words. Okay, if we take a look at this illustration, right, you see here the phoneme. So we would normally associate that with the symbols, the slash symbols, right, which tells us that it is a sound, right? So phoneme is standing for the sound, and the grapheme would be the symbols that you see in print. So the word cat, your phonemes are this is like what you had in your practice a while ago. And then as represented by the symbol, that would be the letter C, A, and T. Okay? And that is understanding print. When a child sees the letter C, A, T, the child will already know that these letters make the sound K. Okay, I think this is a very good point to emphasize that when do you teach phonemic awareness? What if it did not happen prior to learning to read? Would that be a problem? This is one of the questions that I always get during teacher training. Teacher, hindi ako nagpapamanipulate ng sound when I teach them to read. Would that be a problem? So when we teach phonemic awareness prior to decoding instruction or phonics, it actually facilitates the learning to decode. However, if you teach it within, it will definitely refine and extend. I think it's critical to focus on those two terms. So again, when it is taught prior, of course that's the ideal, prior to decoding, then it will facilitate the learning to decode easier because they can already discriminate the sounds and manipulate the sounds even without the graphic symbol. However, if you are doing this already while the decoding instruction is happening, then it will refine and extend. So what is the interpretation of that? Then if you don't do it, then there's no refinement and extension. Meaning, there's a huge chance that children will just memorize the graphic symbols or the grapheme in words, and you are just assuming that they can read. But when you ask them to take out certain sounds in that word, they really have no skills to do that. So that is your gauge that, phonemic awareness is truly essential because in the absence of it, real decoding is not happening, right? It's more of sight reading, familiarity with the letters and associating that CAT is cat without really knowing that it's made up of A and Ch. Alright, so this illustration tells us that reading is has a reciprocal nature, meaning the more complex domains help you with the more simple ones and vice versa, right? So they're complementing. We cannot take them in isolation. Yes, we teach all of them explicitly, but then it's very crucial that we know that this affects this. This element has an impact on this. And any problem with any of these elements would definitely result to poor reading ability. That's why when they are submitted to an assessment, you would notice that there are no two difficulties that are alike. Some children would be very good in their listening, they can retell the story that you have said in proper sequence, but when they are doing that on their own or they are reading it independently, their comprehension is different. Similar with phonemic awareness. For example, they might be able to decode the word, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they can manipulate the phonemes in that word. So there's always a breakdown if these elements are not complementary and are not seen to be complementary with each other. So that we have to be intentional. Okay? So to summarize that, we can see that the impact of phonemic awareness on reading achievement. Okay, so tingnan muna natin before we go into the impact of phonemic awareness on reading achievement. Can we have some experiences from our audience on how are you seeing some challenges with your learners in terms of manipulating of sounds? Do you think that it's a common practice in your area that you not only teach them to blend and then to read words following the same pattern in a word family, but not really allowing them to manipulate the sounds in those words, and even exposing them with non-words that would later on be part of longer words or bigger words? Can we have some teachers share your experiences with that? So that you can really verify, right, if phonemic awareness predicts later achievement in reading, and that if it truly increases reading achievement. Because in my previous discussion, I stated that if you have not been employing it in your current practice, then putting it into the decoding instruction would definitely refine and extend what you are giving. Okay, I've been seeing a lot of good mornings here. Good morning, everybody. But it would be nice if you would share your insights on your own experiences with phonemic awareness instruction. Okay. Okay, I can see it here. I have a senior high school student who can recognize the sound of letters and read basic CVC words. Since he's now in the senior high school level, what can the teachers do and where should we start his remediation? Okay, so since this is the second profile, no, the phonemic awareness has not been taught prior to the reading instruction or to the decoding teaching of the decoding skills, then you would have to really marry it with the current practice. I think it shouldn't be awkward to really gauge the child's knowledge and letter-style correspondence, because that will tell you if the child really knows already the sounds of the letters. If not, then it would be beneficial to explicitly teach it, not in a kiddie format, because as you have said, the child is already in senior high school. So present it as a matter of fact. So today I'm going to present with you cards of the letters. I just want to gauge which letters are you not familiar with in terms of the sounds, and then let us have some sound manipulation activities. Let me check if you're having a hard time following where the sounds are in words, or if you cannot discriminate where that sound is when it's not in its original position. So I think for older learners, the approach should be like that, and not how we do it definitely with small children, but outright engage them in the transaction, let them know that you're there to help, and do not make it awkward for the children. Sometimes we want to teach the children, but we say a lot of things, unnecessary things like, naku, ang laki-laki mo na, hindi mo pa ito alam, no? So kailangan aralin natin to. So some comments like this, that they have a detrimental effect on the children. So we have to be very, our scripting, the way that we deliver the instruction is very crucial, because especially for these children, meron itong emotional element, right? They cannot take criticisms anymore in their life sometimes, or they're very sensitive because of their difficulties and challenges. So we have to pay extra attention and prime on how we're going to communicate the instruction without offending them or without further highlighting their challenges. Diba? Parang let's work on their weaknesses by coming from their strengths. So communication is the key, making them feel safe, getting them involved in the transaction, and definitely engaging them into the process. And make them feel that they're just there to help. Like nothing more, nothing less. Okay. Let our learners give the correct spelling. Oops. I catch that one. That was quick. And a grade 4 pupil. Okay. Who cannot recognize any letters? I am using the Barunco approach for him. So, Magminute, how is that working so far? Barunco is a good sequence, because after you teach a certain number of letters, MSA, the child can already learn them to read words like masa, sama, ama. So, contrary to what others think or what others ask me, teachers should learn like the approaches and the strategies separately, like in English and in Filipino. We are fortunate that our alphabet is very similar to English, and most of the letters, if not all, have the same sound, right? Except for the ones that you have to really say hard in Filipino, like O, U, and E. But for the rest of the letters, they sound the same. So we can use the skill that we have, or that we have learned, if Filipino was the first language that we have learned in learning English, and vice versa. So that shouldn't be a hindrance. So using the Barunco sequencer approach, it's not really an approach, it's a sequence, right, of letters, is going to be very ideal, because the ultimate goal is after certain, like I said, after a certain number of letters by blending na. Okay, another one, I'm a math teacher and I have a hard time making the learners solve a problem, especially if it's word problem. Like science and social studies. In all of these subjects we comprehend. And so having great knowledge in reading can truly help them. Okay, but that's on comprehension. Let us highlight on phonemic awareness here. My grade 9 and 10 students cannot even identify the sounds. No, that one is really alarming. That is why we are highlighting. Please, teachers. Okay, is the audio back now? Alright. I didn't see the code because it's all the. Okay, I think it's Alright. I hope you have your audio now. Yes, okay. So for the grade 9 and grade 10 students who cannot identify the sounds, okay. In cases like this, particularly that we are already affected or that we are already pressured with age, with time, with grade level, we have to be very explicit with our instructions. So following the prescribed sequence, which I will discuss in the next topic, would be essential so that there's no time to waste. As soon as certain letters are taught, then we already have to teach them how to blend. But what we're trying to showcase here is that if we will strengthen the decoding by trying to make the learners manipulate the sounds and words, then it would be an easier and more efficient way to help them how to read. Okay, so that's why there's emphasis on ensuring that the learners have a very high level of phonemic awareness. That they can manipulate the sounds and words so that they would be helped not just in decoding but in spelling as well. And when decoding is not a problem, then the other or the bigger domains would definitely come as a breeze. Like comprehending would not be as hard, right? Because they would not be halted by fluency in reading. Okay, that's good, no? Some of my grade 2 learners are having difficulty identifying letter sounds, and I couldn't identify letter names. Okay, so yes, please watch all throughout, and I can give you the strategies on how to combat that. No, it's not as complicated as we think it is. All right. So as we know, the opposite, if we are not developing phonemic awareness intentionally and explicitly, again, if it has not been part of the child's prior decoding experience, then it has to be present in the current experience. It can be married to decoding, and it should be, because studies have already proven that when you put this into the instruction, then they become more refined in their reading, and there's an extension on their skills to decode and not just to have sounds with the symbols that they are seeing on paper. Okay? So if these phonemic awareness skills are not mastered, then we are guaranteed of a challenge in word reading and fluency. Oops. Alright, so it's very small. Phonemic awareness is small in the sense that it talks about the smallest unit of sound in words. But then if you take a look at all of these tasks that you need to do with it, the mouth exercises, yes, we will have a lot of mouth exercises, definitely, because phoneme manipulation requires you to produce the sound, just like that our beautiful host here did a while ago, right? The sounds need to be enunciated properly so that the learners will have ease in making sense of what you're sounding out. Okay, so for the tasks, you isolate phonemes, blending phonemes, segmenting phonemes, you delete phonemes, you add phonemes, and you substitute phonemes. So all of these they don't take all of the same teacher days, you know, you have a specific task for a specific task in phoneme manipulation. Alright. So let's start with the first one. Let's step the learning for this one. All of you asking me about mouth exercises and other concerns on those children who cannot discriminate the sound, then definitely you have to pay close attention to this one. Okay? Number one, isolating phonemes. Since words are made up of phonemes, when we isolate them, we can pinpoint exactly where is that sound in the word. For example, in the word bat, where do you hear the sound? Do you hear it at the start? Do you hear it in the middle? Or do you hear it in the end? Can anybody put down your answer in the chat box? Where do you hear the sound book in bat? Okay, do we have some answers there? We have some hearts and thumbs up. That's good. That's cool. But please give me the answer. Alright. I cannot see them here. Hold on. Okay. Let us have that currently. Okay. So you hear the B at the start of the word bat. As you can see, I didn't show the word bat, but I just showed the picture. So the kids would have a reference, and then just merely by listening to you, they have to be able to identify where you hear the B sound is in that. Okay, so another activity that you can do, say the name of each picture, and then find a mark where you hear the B sound in each picture, okay? And then you have to circle the picture that does not have that sound. Okay, let us emphasize that this is very crucial for teachers to do. Because most of the time when we teach the letter names and sound, we just often show them a lot of
pictures that start with this
target letter. But we rarely ask them where they can hear that sound, that target sound in a word. So I think for the question a while ago, if the learners cannot retain the sound and the letter form, one of the main reasons for that is because it's always given to them as an initial sound. Like for example, if a while ago, the B sound is at the start in table,
it's not at the start.
in bird, it's also at the start, and in the word pot, you don't hear it, right? So it's good to start practicing the differentiation or the variety on how
Phonemic or isolating
creating phonemes in words should happen. So it shouldn't be just always presenting word cards where you can find the sound, the target sound at the start. Because what happens most of the time is they just remember the sound, associating it with that word that starts with it. And when they're given drills on identifying where it is in a word elsewhere, in other parts of the word, they cannot anymore identify it, right? So alam mo na, hindi talaga niya hawak, no? Wala pa siyang full control of that sound, because if it's not at the start of the word, then the child can no longer give you the answer. Alright? Wow, we have 100K at the moment. Ayan, ako, may mga nagsasagot dito. Thank you, teachers, for being so interactive with us. Bird, you can hear it at the start, pot, none. Diba? Very simple drills. When you have pictures, you only need to have pictures, and then you need to have yourself saying the sound clearly, and you can already provide a very rich phonemic awareness instruction, particularly isolating phonemes to your learners. Alright. Another interactive activity so that it can involve movement would be when you assign a group of kids for each position. So for example, in the word bat, some kids will take the B sound, some learners will be assigned to the A sound, and some would be assigned to the S sound. So if you give a certain sound, those assigned to them can either stand or clap. So you involve movement in it, and not just that, you are also putting their minds into the task of associating their body parts and their movements with the specific sound that they are asked to retain.
So there's accountability,
Right? They're also establishing executive function skills in terms of having tasks for their working memory to be developed, right? And for their self-regulation, they have to be intentional in remembering that there's a sound assigned to them and there's an action assigned to that sound. Sometimes teachers will tell me, teacher, wouldn't that be very complicated for the learners, because you're asking them to remember the sound, you're asking them to remember the action. It's all a matter of I read a comment here. Let me get back to that, Sir Leo. The problem is Okay, it's done. But the question, I think I got it. The question was, the problem is they don't know the English word for the pictures. But you can say the name of the picture, right? Because when you say the name, you don't really give away the sounds in the word. So pag hindi alam ng bata, okay lang yun, sabihin yung pangalan. Also, it does not limit the presentation of pictures to our children with familiar pictures. Sometimes they would say, limit to the ones close to the experience of the child. Pero that's limiting. It has been our practice to always set what they can do, when in fact we have to do it the other way. Let us see how else can they extend. What is the extent of what the learners can do, and also address that. Because if we're always setting the limit, then they're also limited, right? So whatever culture or scenario that we put them into, they will develop a habit in doing that, and they will get used to it, and their brains will be wired to do that. So eventually, this will be an easy task for them, and you might have to level it up and put more challenging tasks for them. Okay. Alright, so this is with higher difficulty. What else can you do? This time we want to involve the whole class. We will assign a sound per kid without any visual. In this case, a kid who's holding the number 1 card will be the G. The kid who's holding the number 2 card will be the A sound. And the kid who's holding number 3 will be the P. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to instruct them to arrange themselves according to the sounds given. So you'll say, of course, classes started out with the individual sounds first. Everybody who has the group sound, can you please raise your card? Everybody who has the A sound, or assigned to the A sound, can you please raise your card? And those with the P sound, can you please raise your number card? Right? So if it happens to be in a bigger group, but if it's just the 3 kids for a production to do this in front of the class, then you have to first model how to do it, and then you have to guide them on how they are supposed to do it, and then you have to make them do it independently. The attitude of the teacher, the way that the teacher gives her scripting, the way that the teacher communicates with her learners is a big factor. Sometimes our intention is good, we want it to be interactive, we want them to integrate games and movement, but our manner of delivery is so intimidating for the children, or we are on a high tone, or we are on a super strict demeanor, that they are discouraged to participate. So, hindi lang ito usapin ng paano itinuturo systematically yung task, but usapin din ito ng paano dinideliver ni teacher. Because remember, learning happens in a safe environment, so you should always make the children feel emotionally secured and safe when you're delivering your instruction. So for example, there would be kids who cannot get the instruction. Diba, huwag natin papagalitan, huwag natin i-embarrass yung kid kasi they might not be anymore motivated to join the task. Kasi minsan sa kagustuhan natin na matutunan nila, yung tinuturo natin, nakakalimutan natin na it takes them a while to really master or understand the instructions that we're giving. Okay, so yeah. For example, you wanted to just say, can you give me the letters, or can you give me, the number cards that make the sound up, up. Right? Okay, so only numbers 2 and 3 should be able to give you the number cards. Okay, and then you can say who among you has the group sound, step forward. So this is also a good opportunity for you to practice them with functional words like forward, backward, rearrange, in the middle, start, end. Okay. Just the same, who among you has the sound, step backwards. And then what sound is not moved yet? So as you can see, may variety, no? Hindi pa ulit-ulit yung tanong. It's very nice to surprise them with changes in how you do things. It's just the same thing, but you vary how you're going to sequence the instruction or the manner that you deliver it. Okay, now, can this be done as a whole class? Definitely. Ito yung mga gusto nating strategy, no? Yung, okay, yes, kunin mo na ang loob. That's very important. That you are trusted, no? And it's a safe environment. So, gusto natin ng mga activities, as I was saying, na i-involve yung buong klase. Kasi palagi yung problema, masyadong malaki yung klase ko. E i-involve natin sila lahat para may role sila, diba? So, you assign first numbers to the children, 1 to 1, 3, 6. Make them do counting, 1 to 7, 1 to 8. So 1 to 8 and then continuous 1 to 8. Now everybody, those who have the numbers 1, 3, 6, you will be good. Those who are assigned with the numbers 2, 4, 8, you will be A. And those who are assigned 5 and 7 will be good. Okay? And then you call on a specific sound and all those assigned as A would move forward, or if the space is limiting, then you can make them stand from their seats. At least they're moving, right? So that's the important thing. Okay, children who are challenged to isolate phonemes will definitely have problems relating these phonemes to letters. So kung hindi nila naririnig, mas malaki yung chance na kapag nakita na nila yung letters na nire-represent ito, hindi rin nila siya ma-associate with it at masulat. So I remember having a kid who has written soft as soft. Tapos nung I made him correct it, he wrote soft. Meaning talagang may problema siya with the retention of the sounds that he hears in the word, no? Probably you also have experiences like this. So, in this case, the spelling is badly affected also by the lack of phonemic awareness skills. Okay, now we now go into blending phonemes. Dito naman, ganun din, parang may isolation din na mangyayari, but this time, you're going to make them combine it. So if you notice, we use the actual representation of the mouth to also help the teachers show how the mouth is positioned. So when you're doing, when you're teaching children to read, you shouldn't have any inhibitions opening your mouth, because it's very important for learners to see the positioning of the mouth, the lips, the tongue, the teeth, when you are giving this instruction. So, in the previous class, we isolated the phonemes. This time, we're going to put it together. Them together. Say A and makes A. Okay? Let's try a different combination. How about A and P? That's up. Okay. Now, to have them, to show a picture of a pot, you just say P, A, pot. Okay, sometimes you do successive blending and you move from the first to the second. There. That's how you blend the phonemes. Okay, how can you have a game or make it more challenging? Again, you distribute 3 colors to the learners. Demonstrate the sound assigned for each child. So for example, blue will be P, green will be A, and yellow will be T. Teacher, wala pa po itong letters, no? Okay, wala pa itong letters. But again, sinasabi natin kanina that if you already are teaching the children to decode at meron na talaga silang representation ng letters, this can also happen with letters already. Current researches on phonemic awareness tells us that it's more functional if it's being done, the manipulation of the sounds is already being done with the letter representations. That's assuming that there is a strong phonological awareness drills that happen prior to the decoding. Kaya nga mahalaga talaga, bago pa sana yun yung ideal, bago pa matutong magbasa, solid na yung phonological awareness skills. But we are not naman too late, but if you have not taught it, you still have a chance to marry it with the decoding instruction. Okay? So you're gonna tell them if I will demonstrate the sound assigned for each child. Please take note of the emphasis of modeling. Ikaw muna yung gagawa. Hindi pag sinabi mo na ang blue ay P, ang green ay O, ang yellow or orange ay alam na agad din ng bata. Definitely you have to practice that first. So let me do it first, show you how it's done, and then you guys will do it on your own. Okay. Yes. Okay, please take note also of, I love the visuals. Yes, I love the visuals too. No, they're very good here at creating the visuals. Thank you for complimenting the hardworking team who worked on the visuals. Totoo po yan.
Dapat visuals natin ay napaka-representative
Tingnan ng ating sinasabi, no, para hindi nakakalito. Okay, so for segmenting phonemes, kanina nag-build tayo. Ganun na, papapasin lang natin yun. Yung build natin na yun, it would be very convenient and easy for the learners to make use of blocks like this. Kasi gusto nila yan, kasi manipulative, nalalaro nila, diba? So, blending, offs. Segmenting, take the top out, take the out, what's left of you. Diba? So kung tayo ay nag-present ng words na by word families, but we are not asking them to segment, to blend, diba? And to isolate, then we are not really leading them to master the manipulation of the sounds and words. Kasi yun yung gusto natin mangyari. For example, in the word cat, if you know that acts, if it's changed to act, right? Act is part of bigger words like action, activity, right? So the manipulation will actually expose them already with the future that they are supposed to encounter, but with longer words. So preparation, so paving the way talaga siya. Okay, so what happens with this one? You reiterate that words are made up of sounds. You show how you blend phonemes. Diba? So, as you attach the blocks, and then you again dismantle that. This is, I'm taking away the okay? So if I put back the and that's, I already have ought, right? So that's again blending. So can they be done simultaneously? Can you do a review while you're segmenting? Definitely. It has to be a looping of the previously learned strategies. Okay? And please take note to make them blend non-words. Non-words eventually will no longer be non-words when they take part in bigger words, like ought. Where can you find ought, right? You have that in lottery, you have that in pottery, you have that in like in scotch. Right? Or hopscotch, there's an ought there. Okay. What are the problems brought about by the inability to segment? Ito na yung mga problema na I'm very sure na kinakaharap ninyo. Definitely, alam na natin, hindi makakapag-decode, hindi makakapag-spell, kasi nga hindi naririnig yung mga maliliit na tunog doon sa salita. So, to avoid that, to enrich what they know, to equip them with the skills, we have to explicitly make them do all of these phonemic manipulation tasks. Alright, deleting phonemes, no? Knowing how to delete phonemes in words that we can hear all the sounds in it. So gauge mo yan. Pag kaya nilang magtanggal, kaya nilang magdagdag, kaya nilang mag-blend, kaya nilang mag-dismantle, that tells you that they have a full hold of the sounds that they can hear and that they will learn or that they have learned. Depende nga kasi kung saan tayo papasok, no? Sila ba ay nag-aaral na lang magbasa, nagpapasa na, nahihirapan ng magbasa. But in all of these scenarios, we can definitely just get in because we know how we can make use of these phone manipulation tasks. Okay, so if I have the sounds together, they're ought. If I delete the it's going to be an ought. If I delete the it's going to be paw. Right? Okay? In consideration that it came from the word pot, okay? Because sometimes they will say if it's PO, that's already a long vowel sound, no? But we came from pot. So in that manipulation aspect, then it's paw, thinking that that was removed. Or if it's opt, and you remove that it's opt, if you remove the p in the middle, it's opt. So that's deleting phonemes. Okay? So say the name of the picture, segment the phonemes to reiterate the sounds, review the concept of start, middle, end. Paulit-ulit natin yung exposure, no? Doon sa start, middle, end. Kasi dapat pag sinabi ko sa bata, can you transfer the O sound in, I mean at the start? So the pot has turned into opt. Okay, doon mo palang masasabi talagang makakabasa at may mood yung bata sa sound. Kung ay, pwede baliktarin mo siya, i-delete mo siya, idagdag mo siya, i-blend mo siya, kaya niyang i-manipulate. Okay, another phoneme is deleted, so in the word pop, you remove the po at the start, then you're left with the ot. That's how you delete it. In the word pop, if you remove the ts, then it becomes an op. Okay. Next one is adding phonemes. So, kung makikita nyo, we're just revolving into the same three-letter sounds, right? So, this is knowing how to add phonemes, allowing you to create new words easily. So, for example, if you have the sound et, and I wanted it to be pet, what should I add? So they should know that, oh, first, the missing sound is at the start, and the possible sound that I can put there, if it's pet, and I have pet, would be p. Okay. You give a combination of sounds while pointing to color representation. Say, if I want et to be get, what sound will I add and where? So you have to ask the child, which part is missing? If I have a three-sound box, no, in your mind, and I already said the S, the second and the middle and the last, and I want get, where should I put that? So they should be able to tell you that it should be at the start, and you're missing the sound group. Okay, now you can also do the same task that we did a while ago by pairing up. This one is interesting because as you assign a number per kid without any visual, you will give them an accountability on the letter sound that they have. Okay, so for example, kids 1, 3, 6 will be kids 2, 4, 8 will be and 5 and 7 will be book. So interesting kasi you can make that, you can make ab, you can make abt, right? You can make, you cannot make atabu. So bat, tab, abt, ab, and apt, no, if you're going to delete. Yan. So all the numbers, have them pair up based on the combination you said. Yes, Ma'am Christine, it's a listening task. However, like what I have mentioned a while ago, in research, if they are already reading and integrated with phonics, that's perfectly fine with the visual of the letters. Because anyway, that's your goal, right? Okay. But initially, establish muna talaga yung listening nila. Okay, so you're asking them to line up. All numbers assigned with up, pair up with those assigned with book. And then you'll ask them of their numbers. Are they really representing those sounds? Are they positioned properly? So nakikita nyo, hindi lang yung sound yung pinuturo natin, but yung discipline of knowing your number representation, positioning yourself where you're expected to position, and collaborating with other kids in the class to follow the instructions. The final one is substituting the phonemes, okay? So ito na, magpapalit ka na, no? Magpapalit ka na ng tunog. This is complex because you have to have knowledge on what's the initial line-up of the sound. So if, for example, if you have two acts, and I wanted to replace that with then they should catch up and know it's already tam, right? Okay. If we substitute the first sound of that to what is our new word, then it will be hat, right? And you can circle the answer. If you substitute the sound with then it will become mat, right? Okay.
Now you would often see the Elkaning boxes.
These are sound manipulation boards where, for instance, you say in the word cat, where you hear the tss, then they can move the tile up into the green box, and so on, right? Okay. So in summary, research has consistently shown that poor readers struggle with phonemic awareness. Teaching phonemic awareness explicitly prior to within is effective, and it does not only benefit the coding and spelling but reading comprehension as well. Okay, thank you everyone.
Hi, Teacher Daisy. Thank you so much. Kita niyo mga kakulab, nagno-notes talaga ako. May notebook ba kayo? O, diba? This is my notebook and this is my note. Diba? I like what you mentioned a while ago, Teacher Daisy, that in the absence of phonemic awareness, real reading is not really happening. Like, reflect ka na, oo nga no, kapag di naman nila kilala yung sound, di nila na-identify, diba? Titig na yun talaga. And the questions, the discussion, the active participation of our teachers in the chat box, sharing their experience, their questions, no? This learning series really, first episode pa lang, diba? Busog na ang ating mga teachers. Kaya, I'm sure they have a lot of questions for you. And now is the time. This is your chance to clarify, share your insights, or ask anything na parang gusto nyo yung i-explore, ganan.
Pwede ba ako mag-pick up dun sa sinabi mo? Kasi ako na marami nakaka-relate doon, no? When you ask me about kung nakakabasa sila nito, pero hindi naman nila namamanipulate, is that decoding at all? If you are familiar with the fuller approach, it presents the word patterns by families, diba? Wala naman problema dyan kasi a lot of teachers really like teach it in that manner. Today we're going to study the at family, right? And then she's going to present the blending bat, cat, mat, hat, fat, and so on. It will work perfectly if there's going to be phoneme manipulation happening, even if you're teaching just the at family. Magkakaproblema lang tayo kapag ginagawa siyang routine reading na. Tapos yung power in alphabetical order pa, diba? So, cat, cat. So the kids are just remembering the sound, the words, based on their order in that without drill, diba?
Parang na-memorize na.
Nababasa. So kung sinabi mo, let's pick that word cat. If I have the word cat, and I want the first sound of cat, what is that sound? So the child should be able to say book. So it's book at. Now, if I take away if I put the at the start and put the book at the end, will it still be that? What's the new word, right? So that's your only gauge na talagang nababasa niya.
So that's manipulating it. That's manipulating. Kaya, teacher, since nandyan na tayo, no, I'm going to ask the first question from our teachers. No? Is phonemic awareness the same as phonics instruction?
No. Okay, so phonemic awareness is the ability to manipulate sounds, right? Phonics instruction is knowing that words have patterns in them. So for example, like CVC words, phonics lang, diba? And then to manipulate the sounds in a CVC word, that's phonemic awareness. There.
They're not the same.
You need them. They have to be together.
Oo, parang tools mo din, your classroom, to do instruction, to do manipulation, ganyan. I think we have next questions from our teachers. Ang ganda ng mga sharings natin kanina, no, teachers? And that's the reality of a Filipino classroom. High school, di maka-identify ng words, diba? And this is a good question. Yes, you're right. Sabi ni Ma'am Kathleen May Arias, may sequence po ba na dapat sundin kung anong mga letter sound ang dapat unahin ituro.
There are a lot of suggested sequences out there, but you have to pick a sequence that would have 2 consonants and 1 vowel at the start. Kasi ang target talaga natin like Maruko, for example, as a SA, kapag ka natuloy mo na yung tunog ng ms at meron ka ng mga salitang asa, masa, masama, sama-sama, sam, sasa.
Kaya Filipino, Maruko is for Filipino,
Yes,
right?
in English,
Madali.
we have sequences like for some that was used in the NLRP, diba? So that one is MAT.
Correct.
So after teaching the 3 letters, 2 consonant, 1 vowel, pwede na mag-blend agad. So yun ang perfect sequence. If it allows, blending to happen as soon as time possible.
And then they can form words on
Yes.
its own.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Next question from our teacher participants. Yan, nakakapag-notes po ba kayo mga teachers, diba? We have a lot, I think Teacher Daisy, diba, marami namang suggested way on how to teach, like kung anong arrangement. The only thing is important is you know what you need in your classroom. And I also like what you mentioned kanina na we have to work on the students' weaknesses and bring them to their strength. Did I get it correctly? Na parang for you to be able to work on those weaknesses, you have to know them better and you have to understand what they need.
And you have to be sensitive to how they feel. Like you don't expect, sometimes we tend to say, ang hindi na namin ito, hindi mo pa maintindihan, dalawang tunog na nga lang, hindi mo
I'm
pa
guilty. Okay lang yan, teacher.
Yes.
It's a safe space, mga
Yes. So, sometimes ginagawa natin ito, nagawa na natin ito. Okay lang yan, forgive yourselves for doing that. And now that you're informed, you're not supposed to do that anymore. Because instead of them getting motivated and engaged in the transaction of learning, they tend to shy away from it, they tend to get demotivated, and they feel unsafe. So when children feel unsafe, learning will not happen.
Yes, thank you, Teacher Daisy. We have another question from Ma'am Soledad Gutierrez. I have learners who can't identify letters and their sound, but can read words. Do I have to teach them the letter recognition and their sound?
Definitely, because this is sight reading, no? Because if the child, again, if the child cannot manipulate the sounds of the words, then these are just memorized words. So what happens in this cases, hindi tayo problematic, no? Kung bata pa yung bata. But once you encounter multi-syllabic words that have affixes in them, then that's where the breakdown will happen. So kailangan maintindihan na talaga na the word misinterpret, right? You have a lot of chunking going on in there. So if you know where to cut the word in syllables because you have a knowledge of the vowel sound, then it will also aid you in spelling. So sometimes nakakalusot ng mga bata up until a certain length of words, but there will be multi-syllabic words and you will see the challenge. And it's going to be hard to address already when they're already big.
And your visuals, I know the teachers notice how good your visuals are. Your visuals, ladder siya, hindi ko ba, Teacher Daisy?
Yes.
Ladder siya, that you need, did I get it correctly? You need to get from one ladder to another and not really skip.
It's more from simple to complex, rather than a sequential, no? Yes, we have to reiterate that. Thank you for highlighting that. Because sometimes they think, bigay muna than the other. Sometimes it actually depends on the need. Kasi minsan papasok ka na at a point when the difficulty is already there. So in that case, you have to prioritize what needs to be done. So parang yung sinabi niya na, kailangan pa ba ulit ituro? Kailangan na mag-manipulate yung phoneme dun sa word. Para sure ka talaga na yung nababasa niya. Kaya niyang i-spell, naiintindihan na paano siya nabuo, right?
Correct.
So yes, para
May
malaya.
assessment ka.
Yes, there has to be assessment and reflective teaching. So you don't only feedback the learners, but you also provide feedback to yourself.
Ayan. Thank you, Teacher Daisy. No, kita nyo naman, mga ka-collab. She was able to give us techniques. Ginawa niya yung promise niya kanina, no? That we can pick up something that you can apply right away in your classroom. Kaya maraming salamat, Teacher Daisy. And to everyone who joined our discussion and shared their thoughts. Grabe, talaga. Now we have completed our session on phonemic awareness. Minention ni Teacher Daisy kanina na dapat wala kang inhibition sa pagturo ng sounds with your mouth, with your tongue, with your teeth. Dapat nakikita yan ng mga students mo. Maraming salamat po ulit, Teacher Daisy. Before we move forward, mga ka-collabs, let's take a 5-second breathing break. Yes. Let us inhale and exhale. Ready?
Ano na lang mamaya?
And for the last time. Ayan, i-internalize natin lahat ng natutunan natin. Yung blending, isolating, adding, deleting, diba? Manipulating the phonemes. Bago tayo magtuloy-tuloy, heto muna something very important para makomplete mo ang evaluation form at post-test later, kailangan mo ang secret code, ang L-Conin. Siguraduhin na ang letter or i-enter ang code in all caps. Tatanungin po ito sa form para masigurong only those na talagang nanood ng webinar ang makakapag-answer at makakapag-complete ng post-test. Huwag niyo pong i-share ang ating secret code. We are 145,000 dito. Grabe, no? Ang dami na. Tama ba ang aking last update? 145,000 teachers watching. Grabe. Kaya ko pa, 170,000, diba? Ang submission link ay magiging available sa ating landing page na makikita nyo po mamaya. Again, ang secret code po natin ay L-Conin. Saan nyo po ito kakailanganin? Sa form na para masiguro po na only those na talagang nanood ng webinar ang makakapag-answer at makakapag-complete
ng ating post-test.
Kanina, no, ang ganda ng mga sharing. And I think, no, even the teachers, mayroong mga
highlight on